I want to prove people right. I want to prove it to the guys that have been here since I've been here that they were right to have faith and maintain unwavering support. I want to prove it to the fans.
There sure is some motivation and drive in that Tiger locker room as we start the new season. It's the official Mizzou Xtra football preview right now on Mizzou Xtra.
KOMU8's Mizzou Xtra starts now.
We've made it to the last week before Mizzou football season kicks off, and there's plenty to preview as the new season gets ready to start. We'll look at the new Tiger captains for 2023 and the quarterback race as the battle to become starter could extend into the regular season. Plus, one-on-one with Mizzou Radio Network analyst Howard Richards. All that and more coming up right now on Mizzou Xtra.
KOMU8's Mizzou Xtra is presented by Rusty Growing Automotive.
Welcome to another episode of Mizzou Xtra. I'm KOMU8 Sports Director Ben Arnett, and we are going to get you ready for the new football season over the next half hour as the Tigers close in on their showdown with South Dakota on Thursday, August 31st. Now, Tigers players voted and tapped 6 captains for the upcoming season. On offense, quarterback Brady Cook's status as a starter may be up in the air, but he is locked in as a captain for the second straight year. Left tackle Javon Foster and running back Cody Schrader will also wear the C on their jersey this season. Defensive lineman Darius Robinson and linebacker Chad Bailey are both second-year captains on defense. Tyron Hopper joins them as a first-year captain in his second season in Columbia. Now, Hopper is a senior, and he's back after a breakout junior season last year. Hop is motivated to improve his NFL draft projection this spring, but also to lead Mizzou to a winning season. And to Hopper, the team motto of "something to prove" is defined by consistent effort.
Honestly, it just means going out there and leaving everything on the field, playing your heart out, making plays, and making sure you're ready, prepared to do your job. That's what it means to us, just really leaving your heart out on the field every Saturday.
Meanwhile, his fellow linebacker Chad Bailey has battled injuries during fall camp, and Bailey's status for that season opener remains up in the air at the moment.
Yeah, everything going pretty good. I was a little banged up, but I'm straight.
It's kind of a wait-and-see approach. We're working as hard as we can. I know he's working as hard as he can. I think he's frustrated with it, but you got to trust the process and you got to trust your body.
All right, so Bailey says he's ready. Drink says maybe hold on. Injuries, of course, knocked Bailey out of the Georgia and Florida games last year, so he wants to get in a healthy and full season. Like Drink said, we're going to have to wait and see leading up to game day, but Bailey is eager to get on the field and prove that Mizzou is better than a 500 program.
To me, I just think it means that everybody in the country doesn't believe in Mizzou. The only people that believe in Mizzou is the people that walk around this facility every day and go on that field every day. So something to prove just means that we got to prove to everybody in the country that we really here to play and compete in the SEC.
Another captain, Cody Schrader, elevated from walk-on to starter to captain in the span of just 1 year at Missouri. He's also the primary running back, it would seem, entering his second season in Como. And with that comes a leadership role that Schrader has earned during his rise from unknown to offensive weapon.
We know what we put in. We know the work that we've put in these off seasons and summer conditioning. Now it's time to prove to ourselves that we are who we say we are. So I think that's the mindset of the whole team. And for the running back room, I really think finishing runs, being the guy at the end of the game that the ball can go to and we close out games. I think that's our motto in that room. And that's something that we pride ourselves in, is closing out games when our number is called.
All right, quarterbacks. Arguably, no two players on the Mizzou roster had more to prove against South Dakota than these two. Both Brady Cook and Sam Horn have shown well for themselves in fall camp. Cook, of course, the returning starter, coming off a torn labrum that hampered him last year. Horn trying to prove himself after playing just a hiccup last season as a true freshman. And Eli Drinkwitz has made it clear this battle will continue into the season if it has to, until one quarterback separates himself.
I think right now we're in a situation where it's a continual battle, but we want to let people continue to grow and develop and not have that pressure of, hey, we have to have this decision made at this point. I think it's, this day and age in college football, I think you could very easily see a couple quarterbacks play in the first couple of games and let the play on the field decide it. We'll see both of them, I anticipate, in the first game and then kind of play it from there.
All right, I hope that whet your appetite for football. Coming up for the first time this season on Mizzou Xtra, Howard Richards joins us to break down the entire Mizzou football season. Plus, We'll take a look back at a Mizzou-made stars' top moments in the NFL with the Super Bowl champions and the Tiger Top 5. Well, that football season opener is coming up Thursday, August 31st. It's Missouri and South Dakota to open up the 2023 season. And for the first time on this new season of Mizzou Extra, we welcome in our Mizzou Extra football analyst, Mr. Howard Richards, the former Missouri Tiger, former Dallas Cowboy, and you hear him every single Saturday, in this case Thursday, on the Tiger Radio Network. Howard, how was your summer? I'm sure you're as excited as anybody to see football back.
It was a busy summer, Ben. Did a little travel, a little overseas travel. But, once August rolls around, I think it's time to start thinking about the sport of football. And it is upon us. So I'm excited, probably about as much as anyone else is, for the 2023 Mizzou Tiger season to get underway.
Okay, now when you tell me you did some international travel, these were not any of your old CIA haunts, right? This was strictly for vacation?
Strictly for vacation. Actually, went to a wedding in Portugal and had a fantastic time. So it's the first time I've actually been outside of the U.S., minus Mexico, of course, to Europe in over 5 years.
Okay, we'll stop the conversation there. We don't want to get any classified information. Let's talk new football season. And the first thing that comes to mind when you talk about this team entering the new campaign, it sounds like the quarterback competition may extend into the regular season. Potential to see two quarterbacks at least in the first game and maybe beyond early in the campaign. Your thoughts on using two quarterbacks at the same time?
Traditionally, you've heard the old saying: if you've got two starting quarterbacks, you have none. It makes it more difficult when you're trying to play through a season with two guys. Now, early on in this season, and especially in a non-conference game, and not taking anything away from South Dakota, I think this is a good idea. And the reason being is you've got a proven guy, Brady Cook, who still has more to prove. He's got some improvement to make. But then you have sort of an unknown talent in Sam Horn, a guy that's extremely talented, but we haven't seen anything of him. Minus one series last year, or maybe two, I don't even remember. But you want to see what this young man can do.
There are question marks with Sam Horn. We know of the potential, we just don't know for sure. And football coaches hate the unknown. What, in your experience, does it take for a first-time quarterback who doesn't have the game experience of a Brady Cook, someone in the position of Sam Horn right now? What does it take in a practice setting for them to push a coach into the mindset of, yes, I'm comfortable making this decision and putting this inexperienced guy in there?
He has to have command of the offense, first of all. Then he has to have command of the huddle. His teammates have to feel confident that when he's back there taking snaps, that he's a guy that can get it done regardless of who the number one guy is. So essentially, it's that simple. But he's got to know what he's doing, and he's got to know in his mind that he's ready and prepared for whenever his number is called. Whether that's with checkdowns, audibles, deciding when to run the football. He's got to have that internal clock going that if he doesn't find anything downfield, he's got to make something happen. But that confidence only comes with repetition.
This doesn't just affect the quarterback. It affects the entire offense. From your perspective on the offensive line, how does working with two quarterbacks interchangeably in the same game affect the other parts of the offense?
Well, certainly you have to be mentally tough. One guy's, his voice and intonation will be different from the other guy. His cadence might be slightly different. But that's something as an offensive lineman you have no control over. You simply have to be able to adjust to it. And it comes down to mental focus. We saw this team in 2022 have a lot of moments where there was no mental focus. And that came in the form of especially illegal procedure penalties, jumping off sides, which Missouri has to. It is imperative that this team avoid, a flurry of those types of penalties this year because they are just drive killers. So I'm anxious to see how the new offensive line coach has addressed that with this group, and what he will do and what he has been doing to eliminate those types of mental mistakes. Because they're very important. Listen, this team has to be better, simply has to be better on offense in 2023 if they plan to take a step forward. Now, what does taking a step forward mean? Well, you just got to be productive, moving the football, staying ahead of chains on first and second down, being more efficient on third down, being more efficient in the red zone, and scoring more touchdowns instead of field goals. That's how you get better.
Coming up next, can the Mizzou defense be dominant? More with Howard Richards as Mizzou Extra continues.
Let's talk defense. One of the best defenses in the Southeastern Conference a year ago. Blake Baker turned things around immediately. This season is really about the next step, and in particular for some individuals like Tyron Hopper. Very few players on the defensive side of the ball in the SEC who were more impressive than him a year ago, but he came back because he wants to do more at Mizzou and improve his draft stock. How did somebody as good as Tyron Hopper get even better?
Well, I don't think he can do so from a physical standpoint. Maybe get a little stronger. He's got really good speed. I think for him, it's probably recognizing how offenses are trying to attack more quickly and getting to those spots more quickly. Did an outstanding job there, but maybe being a more consistent tackler, maybe a little bit better in coverage. And those are the things, not that they were necessarily weaknesses in his game, but they will solidify him if he does those things as being one of the top linebackers in the SEC, and quite possibly one of the top linebackers entering the 2024 NFL draft. He's that kind of player. He's got that twitch, again, the speed. He's got the savvy, the football IQ to be that type of player. Now it's just up to him to get it done. He's going to have some help up front. But I like the fact that you got some experienced players returning, especially on that interior. Guys that were very productive at the defensive tackle position. The key for this team, I think, however, is going to be what happens on the edge. You got Darius Robinson, who's going to start on the outside, first time playing defensive end position. Certainly very capable, but again, it's about getting out there and getting those reps. And probably facing a little bit better athletes on the outside at the offensive tackle positions than he's facing on the inside at a guard position. Also, Johnny Walker, if he ends up being the other starting edge rusher, how do you replace that production from the losses of the likes of DJ Coleman and Isaiah McGuire?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. It's been 5 or 6 years since D-Line Zoo produced a first-round NFL draft pick. You have to go all the way back to Charles Harris. There's a lot of talent on the defensive line. Is this the year that we see the return of D-Line Zoo and what Mizzou fans became so accustomed to in the Gary Pinkel era?
It would certainly be nice, wouldn't it, to have that type of production where you not just have what I call depth in numbers, but you have depth in ability, meaning that even if whoever starts the game goes out, that next wave of players that comes in, that next line, is going to play with little to no drop off than the starters are.
All right, let's talk about the first opponent. It's Thursday, August 31st, South Dakota coming into Columbia, Missouri. FCS program, 3-8 last year, winless on the road. They allowed 29 points a game a year ago. This is much more about Missouri's execution than anything scouting South Dakota, isn't it?
Exactly. Don't know that we'll know much about South Dakota when they come in and even after the game is over. But for Missouri, as you mentioned, showcase what you've learned thus far through camp. Execution, minimizing, if not completely eliminating mental mistakes. And it's a tune-up for your next game. But you have to take these games, regardless of whether they're an FCS opponent, you still have to take these games seriously. Your routine is what I think helps you prepare for success throughout the season. And again, we all learn you never take any opponent lightly. And I don't know how many times it's been done in the past, but there have been cases where teams have taken other teams lightly, even FCS opponents, and gotten beaten. It's the last thing Missouri wants or could afford at this point. So I don't expect that to happen, but I do want to see a team that's sharp and ready to play at about 7 p.m. on August 31st.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It happens every few years. I mean, and go back to App State and Michigan, and of course, I think it happened a couple of times to that school in Lawrence, Kansas over the past couple of decades. But Missouri will try to avoid that. We will certainly not avoid Howard Richards all season. He's back as our Mizzou Network football analyst. Howard, good to talk to you. We'll talk to you again after the game next week, and happy to have you back on board for another season.
Thanks, Ben. It is great to be back, and looking forward to, I think, some better and more exciting football in 2023.
More Mizzou Xtra coming up in just a moment.
KOMUH Mizzou Extra is presented by Rusty Growing Automotive.
Well, welcome back. And arguably the most successful former Missouri Tiger wearing an NFL jersey these days is Nick Bolton. KMUH's Kyle Helms dug through the recent archives and ranked Bolton's best moments in a Chiefs uniform for this week's Tiger Top 5.
Once a Tiger, now a leader of the Chiefs defense.
Can I get a big old M-I-Z?
Let's look back on some of Nick Bolton's best moments in a KC uniform. At number 5, talk about making a strong first impression. Bolton picked off Patrick Mahomes in his first training camp with the Chiefs. A difference maker from the start. At number 4, Bolton's in the backfield. The KC linebacker not only recorded his first career sack in Indianapolis, he got to Matt Ryan twice.
What a play by Bolton.
The only 2 sacks of his NFL campaign. At number 3, Bolton's been breaking records. The former Missouri Tiger set a franchise record last season, reaching 180 tackles in a single season, surpassing all-time Chiefs great Derrick Johnson. At number 2, it's Bolton's signature play.
The former Missouri Tiger with a game-changing play.
He scooped up a game-changing fumble in his rookie season against Denver and bolted 86 yards downfield, outrunning his former teammate Drew Lock to the end zone.
Unable to make the tackle on his former Missouri teammate.
And at number 1, no surprises here. It's a scoop and score on the biggest stage in football.
It's picked up by Bolton. No one in front of him is going to score.
Bolton forced a critical fumble in Super Bowl 57 and returned it for a touchdown.
Number 32, he gets the strip, the fumble recovery, and the touchdown.
No wonder Eli Drinkwitz named a drill after him.
He's going to be able to run for governor in this state after that victory parade last year. The shout out. Speaking of Bolton's Chiefs, Kansas City's season opener this year, Thursday, September 7th, is right here on KOMU8. And you want to tune in early for our Chiefs Extra kickoff special. That's at 5:30 p.m. We'll preview the season, take you up to Football Night in America, followed by the Chiefs and the Lions to open the new season. Chiefs Extra kickoff special, September 7th on KOMU8 and streaming on the KOMU8 app. Back here in Mid-Mo, the fall sports season is in full swing. Volleyball wraps up the Mizzou Classic on August 27th against Colgate at Hearns Center. And then Thursday's a busy night with soccer playing at Nebraska. And of course, Mizzou football finally kicking off the year number 4 under Eli Drinkwitz against South Dakota, 7 p.m. at Faurot Field. And I will be there live at Faurot on opening night for our Mizzou Extra kickoff special. Thursday, August 31st, 6:30 p.m., taking you up to kickoff between Mizzou and South Dakota. We'll look ahead to the entire season. I got live interviews and an exclusive one-on-one with former Tiger quarterback Chase Daniel. We will count down the minutes until the opening kick of the 2023 season. It's a busy time, and Mizzou Extra's going to be with you also. Be sure to join us next week. We'll be streaming a little bit late next Friday after that season opener against South Dakota, and then Saturday morning in our usual time. We'll see you again next week on Mizzou Extra.